Greiner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Secretary. I'm going to talk briefly about the Co-Stars program. And in background, I was a township supervisor, and I know a lot of municipalities use this, and local governments and not-for-profits, and to their benefit. And I know the cooperative purchasing program offers these benefits to the governments and not-profits by allowing them to piggyback on our state contracts. But there have been some concerns that have been raised. There's been some feedback, however, that some local governments are actually spending more on goods and services under Co-Star contracts than they would if they would have actually bid the contracts out themselves. I mean, I think they're assuming, you know, that we have the best deal, and that's not always the case. What I wanted to know is, are there any mechanisms in place to ensure that the Co-Stars contracts are not costing local governments more money than they could bid locally? That's the first question. And the second question would be, is the Co-Stars program working equally well for supply, service, and construction contracts, you know, across the board? And number three, if not, would it be best to alter the Co-Stars program so that it only applies to maybe those procurements where it's working the best? Sure.
Thanks for the questions. Let me see if I can remember them all. First, with respect to goods, services, and construction, the Co-Stars program does not apply to construction. There are only goods and services contracts currently on the Co-Stars, in the Co-Stars program. With respect to savings and potential savings, the vast majority of the contracts that are available to municipalities and nonprofits through the Co-Stars program are multiple award contracts, which is to say that for any good or service that you might want to go to the contract for, you have multiple entities from whom you could purchase that service. And a best practice that we recommend that everyone follow is that although they're not required to do a formal public bid, they should absolutely seek competitive quotes from the various options that they have on each contract in order to ensure that they're getting the best price they can. Because these contracts are indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. So the pricing that the suppliers provide to us at the time that they win the contracts is provided in the absence of any information about what the volume of the purchase might ultimately look like. So once a municipality has a specific purchase, it's much easier for a supplier potentially to provide a further discount, knowing, you know, what the likely revenue is that they're going to generate. So it's really a best practice. We can't vouch every day, all day, for every price that's on every one of those contracts. It wouldn't be possible.
Yeah, understood. And it's been a while since I've been a township supervisor, but I will say I remember there was a case where I think we wanted to go through the program, and we found out that, geez, one of the local dealerships was going to be able to provide a truck for less money, which came as a surprise to me at the time. So that's all I had right now. I do just want to one last comment. I know a lot of my colleagues have hit on this, and with my background as a CPA, I will tell you that I do have. And we're probably, this is going to be more discussion. I do have grave concerns about what ended up being a finance agreement and not a lease back. And having done tax work, you know, often we've said if it doesn't pass the smell test, it doesn't. And I think what's even more troublesome to me is that I feel that the legislature here is we're getting our power usurped. Meaning I think, if we're going to do a financing decision or we need to provide that funding, as one of my colleagues suggested, the governor, was to use these supplemental, the funds that were in the restricted accounts or the off general fund accounts. And I think that we're going to have to look at this, because I'm very worried. I don't know what's next, whether it's going to be the east wing of the Capitol or the Capitol building itself. And I'm just saying, with my professional background, I struggle very much with that transaction. I wanted to go on record publicly to let you know. I know you've been asked a lot of questions, so I thank you for coming today, and I thank you, Mr. Chairman.